bring in our in-studio guest now. Just joining us here in the studio, retired Superior Court Judge Gail Tucson and attorney Sarah Becker still here. Thank you both so much for being here. Judge Tucson, I want to ask some questions of you, please. With this jury selection process, we've been talking a lot about it this morning and the fairness to both sides, and you can see where the concerns lie in the defense wanting these jurors to be questioned privately, where there's no issue of everyone in open court hearing the answers. As Jalen just mentioned, someone saying, my friend had an incident at a hotel with Harvey Weinstein. All of a sudden, everybody goes, oh no, we can't unring that bell. And then you have the prosecutor saying, no, this should be done in open court. There's no reason why he should receive special treatment on this case, or these jurors should be brought in a private room, let it happen in open court. The case law they're citing isn't proper, all the different reasons. So tell me, what do you think would be the best way to safeguard Harvey Weinstein's right to a fair trial, having that impartial jury, and also to make sure that the process is fair in terms of what is said, and so the pool isn't tainted?
So, Julie, a sex case is one of the hardest cases to seat a jury in. It's just a lot of time and attention goes into it from the court's perspective as well as from the prosecutor and the defense attorney. So it would seem to me that under these circumstances, with the benefit of the pre-screening and the questionnaires, there will be an opportunity for the court as well as the counsel to be able to identify any unique situations. In sex cases, you have prospective jurors, many of who have not even made disclosures. When they find out about this kind of case, it brings back memories that have not been processed with a professional. And you know, some really sad and tragic circumstances. So I think it would be appropriate to have individual voir dire with those jurors. But because of the case, the length of time that it's going to take to pick a jury as well as try the case, the judge is going to have to balance the unnecessary time that would be involved in having individual voir dire for each and every juror, and making sure that he balances their rights as well as the defendant's right to a fair trial and the state's opportunity to make sure that, you know, they have a thorough and sifting examination of the backgrounds of the jurors.
Yes. Judge Tucson, thank you. I want to bring in another guest who is in New York City, joining us from our Manhattan studio, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Magruder, still with us. David, I want to ask you, please, about the law in New York. That's a great law for prosecutors, Not so great if you're on the defense side, and we're going to see it come into play in this case with the 2 counts of predatory sexual assault. And essentially the law is saying that they're accusing a defendant of committing sex assault against more than one victim. And if the jury believes only one of the complaining witnesses, they can still find the defendant guilty if they believe that supporting witness, who is Annabella Sciorra in this case. David, in criminal practice, how difficult is this law to contend with when you are on the defense side of a sex assault case?
It is a gift to the prosecution because it allows an evidence of another complainant, and that you might not even be charged with that incident with the other complainant, but it's gonna be allowed in, and it's devastating to the defense. And if you're convicted of it, the sentence of it is a life sentence. So you have to look at it that way. It's devastating as an evidentiary matter. It's also devastating if you're convicted of it because you have an L, what we call an L at the end of your sentence, which means a life sentence is in play here. And I just wanted to say one other thing about the model who spoke up, 1 out of 2 people who spoke up in the pool and stated that she knew Harvey Weinstein. I will say that is a little, the way everything's fact-based, and the fact-based that he's, you know, stereotyped or Weinstein, or he has allegedly assaulted all these beautiful Hollywood people, for her to stand up and to say, I've met him, I do think it has a little bit of a taint there, because if you think about it for a second, had it been a guy, you know, he works in movies, had it been a camera guy or a key grip or somebody like that who stood up and said, I knew him from a movie, that'd be one thing. I do think that the fact that there was a model that stood up and said, oh yes, I know Harvey Weinstein, I do think that has a little drip of course some of the other jurors will sit there and say, oh, of course he knows or met this particular model. So I don't think it's totally, with the young lady, Hadid, I believe her name.
Gigi Hadid, I wanted to clarify that's the model you're talking about. Okay, continue please, David.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that potentially could have an effect on some jurors, because it's just weird. Everything is how it comes out and what happens. And then all these women and what he's accused of and what he's been accused of in the public forum, in our legal forum, for her to be one of 2 of 70 to stand up and say that, I do think that it does cause one to pause and say, hey, wait a minute, this is going to be something that suggests what the DA is saying. So I just wanted to point that out. But as far as had it been a cameraman, or had it been because he works in movies, right? So had it been a cameraman, a key grip or something, oh yeah, it goes on, or a male actress or a male model, because that doesn't seem to be his thing.
Gotcha.
But the fact that it was her, I don't know. It just rubbed me a certain way where the other jurors may be saying, yeah, of course he knows this young lady.
Okay. Well, David, thank you for those thoughts. And I'm going to get the thoughts of our other guests here after this break. We need to take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue our coverage of New York versus Harvey Weinstein. We'll also hear from one accuser's gripping story of survival and the enormous effort that it took to avoid placing the blame on herself. You don't want to miss it. We're back after this.